Hi, I'm John Perkins,
And I'm Craig Bell.
and today we got Reverend Matt Satter with us.
Hey, remember when we were kids, guys, we'd sing that song, This Little Light of Mine, I'm going to let it shine.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep, we'll talk about that on Take 5.
Food for the soul, helping you to thrive. 5 minutes to renew your mind. Take 5.
Brother Matt, it sure is good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
We was talking about this actually a few years ago. Me and Brother Matt was talking about this, but different churches works and operates different ways. I know some pastors, good friends of mine, that pastors full time. That's the only income that they have is from the church, and we know that that's a great ministry. How that they can even dedicate more time to visit people in the nursing homes and hospitals. But a lot of our preachers, they don't have that ability to just pastor full time. They got to work full time. I know Brother Matt owns his own business, and it's a blessing to be able to work among people and to be able to witness to people, not just Christians, but to lost people.
Yeah, I consider myself blessed to be able to work and to help others. The Lord has given me a good physical ability to do work, mainly construction work, but the people that He's put in my life and the places that I've gone and to do jobs, and I've needed help. But what I didn't realize is the people that He was having me to help me, they needed help too, and they didn't need just help with building something. They had that ability, but they needed some spiritual help. They needed a light in their really dark life. Many of them had situations in growing up where they just didn't have a great home life like I was blessed to have. And while I was growing up, I learned who Jesus was through those stories, through those little lessons that we have at Sunday school. So many times the teachers cared, enough to tell us those stories. And what I noticed is the people that I came into contact that I was working with every day, they didn't have those memorable situations in life, and seemed like a lot of their life growing up was darkness and sadness. And I remember one of them even talking about being pistol whipped as a child. And I thought, wow, how bad that would be, how hard that would be. And so I would always try to be an encouragement. A lot of them really looked up to me because I had my own business, but that's a blessing sometimes, but that's also a curse sometimes. But so many people that I've been able to come into contact, I think I've made a difference, and their life has made a difference in me because it made me thankful for the way that I was brought up compared to what a lot of people have to be brought up in.
So what are some ways that we can let our light shine in the workforce as people? Because really the mission field that you have beyond the church and that our listeners have is where they're placed at to work. And how can we be a light without wearing a neon sign but yet still letting our light shine? Where's the balance there?
Well, I had a guy tell me not too long ago that, and I never even thought of it like this. I would just always try to do the best I could, but he actually told me, he said, Matt, I think your ministry is the work that you do. And just by being among those people, you're ministering to them. And the way that we can minister is always trying to be right. Always trying, you claim to be a Christian, and the word Christian means to be Christ-like. But are we truly Christ-like? We talk different. We are supposed to act different. But do we really, or do we just chum along with them, or do we try to give them an example that, hey, there is something different about this person? When I was younger, the Lord taught me a lesson to be more humble. Whenever I was very young, I was arrogant. I was proud. I wasn't the nicest person. I always seemed to brag and things like that. But the Lord had a way of bringing me down and making me realize that I was nothing, and we all are nothing. And until I realized that I was nothing, and God lifted me up out of the pit, I felt like I was stuck in a pit, down in I've said this before, not a pit that had jagged edges like rocks in it that you might have a chance to climb out, but the pit that I was in had slick walls, and they were a little bit wet, so there was no traction. There was no chance of me climbing out of that pit except that God would just lift me up, and that's what He did. And when He lifted me up and set me on solid ground, on a rock, out of that pit, out of that dark, scary pit, and set me up on something solid that I knew that didn't have to be scared anymore, that made all the difference in my life. And I tried to change as a person. Now, I've not been perfect, and I've still got a lot of changing to do. I think the one song, that little kid's song, you was talking about songs, he's still working on me. I think about it all the time, because even though we we have progressed. We've still got a lot farther to go.
Amen.